royal power struggle? Queen Mary's bold speech rocks Denmark as Queen Margrethe makes stunning return to power. Welcome to BNews. The Danish royal family has always been admired worldwide for its elegance, unity, and steady leadership, a dynasty that seemed to rise above the tumult of modern politics with quiet dignity. But this week, all eyes are on Copenhagen as a remarkable turn of events unfolds inside the walls of Amalienborg Palace. Queen Mary of Denmark delivered what many are calling the most significant speech of her reign so far, a powerful, forward-thinking address that underscored her growing authority and vision. Yet, just as Mary seemed to step more fully into her role as queen consort, her mother-in-law, the indomitable Queen Margrethe, stunned Denmark by resuming key royal duties, signaling what some interpret as a subtle yet unmistakable challenge to her daughter-in-law's rising influence. Before we begin this fascinating deep dive into the shifting sands of Denmark's royal family, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to BNews, and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring you the most compelling stories from royal households around the world. And don't forget, we want to hear from you. Which queen do you think represents the future of the Danish monarchy, Mary's bold modernity or Margrethe's timeless tradition? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The story began earlier this week during an official engagement at Copenhagen's National Theatre. Queen Mary was the guest of honor at an event celebrating Danish culture's role in uniting Europe, and her speech electrified the room. In what many described as both inspiring and subtly provocative, Mary spoke of the monarchy's duty to embrace change. "We must preserve what defines us," she declared, "but we must also be brave enough to shape it for tomorrow. That is our obligation. To ourselves and to all Danes." The audience, which included diplomats, artists, and government officials, rose to a standing ovation. But to royal watchers, the speech carried more than just poetic weight. It hinted at an assertion of vision and leadership unprecedented for Mary so far. Mary's words were striking not just in their tone but also in their timing. Only days earlier, Queen Margrethe, who had formally stepped down from her throne in January after a reign of over 5 decades, unexpectedly announced that she would resume a schedule of high-profile royal duties. This decision came as a surprise to many Danes, who had assumed her retirement would mark the beginning of a more ceremonial role, allowing her son, King Frederik, and his wife Mary to define the future. Instead, Margrethe's re-emergence at the forefront of royal life raised immediate questions. Was this a sign of disapproval of Mary's vision, or simply a woman unwilling to fully relinquish her lifelong role? Within hours of Margrethe's announcement, palace insiders confirmed that the Queen would appear at several major events over the next few months, including a state dinner and official overseas visits. Meanwhile, Queen Mary continued with her own packed schedule, showing no signs of retreat. At a charity gala the following night, she reiterated her message of change, telling attendees, "The strength of our traditions lies in their ability to grow alongside our people." To many observers, the juxtaposition was striking: 2 queens, 2 philosophies, and an increasingly visible tension. Royal commentator Inger Holst described the situation as a classic generational crossroads. In an interview on Danish television, she noted that while Queen Margrethe's reign was defined by preserving tradition and upholding the monarchy's historical gravitas, Mary's approach is more dynamic, emphasizing inclusivity, transparency, and modernization. "We are seeing, perhaps for the first time in decades, a real difference of opinion at the very top of the Danish royal family," Holst said. "And they're both making their positions clear, albeit diplomatically." The public reaction to these developments has been just as nuanced as the palace intrigue. Polls show that while a majority of Danes admire both women, there's a generational divide. Older citizens tend to view Margrethe as the embodiment of the monarchy's timeless dignity, while younger Danes find themselves drawn to Mary's more progressive and relatable image. Social media platforms have been flooded with debates about which queen is better suited to lead the monarchy through the 21st century, with hashtags like #TeamMary and #Queen Margrethe trending across Denmark and beyond. Adding to the intrigue is the position of King Frederik, who finds himself caught between his mother and his wife. Insiders say he has been working quietly to keep peace within the family while publicly supporting both women. At a recent press appearance, he praised his mother's extraordinary lifelong service and then moments later lauded his wife's vision for the future. A close advisor told BNews, "The king is a mediator by nature, he wants harmony in the family, but he also knows that Mary's ideas resonate with the people, particularly the younger generation. It's a delicate balancing act." Palace staff are reportedly working overtime to present a united front despite the apparent tensions. Joint appearances by Mary and Margrethe have been quietly scheduled in the coming weeks, aimed at reinforcing the monarchy's image of stability and cohesion. Behind closed doors, however, sources say discussions between the two queens have been frank and sometimes emotional, as each seeks to define her role in a rapidly changing royal household. The dynamic between Mary and Margrethe is not only a family matter but also a reflection of broader changes in Denmark itself. As Danish society grows more diverse and modern, the monarchy is under pressure to adapt while still preserving its identity. In this context, Mary's emphasis on modernization and inclusion speaks directly to the national mood. Yet Margrethe's enduring popularity reminds everyone of the deep emotional connection many Danes feel toward the traditions she represents. For Queen Mary, this moment is perhaps her greatest test yet. After years of supporting roles, first as crown princess, then as queen consort alongside her husband, she is now emerging as a leader in her own right. But her journey is complicated by the formidable presence of a mother-in-law whose influence remains immense, both publicly and privately. At the same time, Queen Margrethe's return serves as a powerful reminder that she remains deeply attached to the institution she shaped for over half a century. Far from retreating quietly into the background, she appears determined to remain a guiding force, ensuring that the monarchy she handed down is preserved according to her vision. It's impossible to predict how this quiet contest of ideas will resolve itself. Some royal watchers believe the two queens will ultimately find a way to blend their philosophies, creating a stronger, more resilient monarchy. Others warn that unresolved tensions could eventually undermine public confidence in the royal family's unity. What is certain, however, is that Denmark is witnessing one of the most fascinating chapters in its royal history. Two remarkable women, each with her own vision, each beloved in her own way, are shaping the future of an institution that has stood for centuries. And as the world watches, their choices, and their ability to find common ground, will define the Danish monarchy for decades to come. So now we ask you, which queen do you believe holds the key to Denmark's future? Do you side with Queen Mary's bold call for change, or do you stand with Queen Margrethe's steadfast guardianship of tradition? Share your thoughts in the comments below, your voice is part of this ongoing conversation. And don't forget, for more exclusive stories, breaking royal news, and insider analysis, like this video, subscribe to BNews, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what happens next in this extraordinary royal saga.